Hello and welcome to the Show Day podcast. Today is July 20th, 2019. Today is Regional Day number 1 of the 2019 Drum Corps International Summer Tour. All 22 world-class DCI corps will take to the field at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio today. Plus, numerous other DCI Open class corps take to the field in California and in New Hampshire. Plus, we have some DCA action today. So really, we thought last week was action-packed. Today is even more action-packed than last week when you look at competitive implications and everything. So really a great day ahead for Drum Corps, and I'll start off though by taking a look back though at last night's 2 shows, one in Texas, one in California. That first show last night is DCI Katy in Katy, Texas at Legacy Stadium, the Katy ISD football stadium. So another very action-packed show here. We've got 5 of the top 6, 7 of the top 9 here, plus you add in Phantom. A very good lineup. Let's take a look at general effect first. At the top, we've got the Bluecoats, a 36.6. Blue Devils in second at a 36.35. Blue Devils do get closer overall than they were in Broken Arrow to the Bluecoats, but there's one big thing behind that, and I'll get to that on the music recap. Santa Clara Vanguard, they finished third with a 35.9, so they're all pretty much in the 36 range in general effect. Crown at a 35.2, Cavaliers at a 34.65. Blue Stars, they topped the Cadets last night, and I haven't seen anybody say anything this morning so far as to when I'm doing my podcast about when the last time was that happened, but I'm sure it has not been recent. If it ever has, I know the Blue Knights had never defeated the Cadets. They have. I don't know if the Blue Stars ever have. If someone wants to find that out and reply, I'm more than open to that, so thank you. Anyway, Blue Stars 33.7, Cadets a 33.2, and Phantom in 8th at a 32 even. Moving over to visual and visual proficiency, we see Crown jump Vanguard by 0.2. In analysis, you got the Bluecoats on top at an 18.4. That's just half of a tenth above Vanguard, and then another half of a tenth back to the Blue Devils. So just 1/10 of a point separates those top 3 in visual analysis. Looking farther down, a big drop-off then between Vanguard and Crown. And then going to the Cadets Blue Stars battle here. In proficiency, you've got the Blue Stars on top by 0.5. In analysis, the Cadets make up 1/10 of that. Over in Color Guard, you've got Vanguard coming out on top. Really, this is a toss-up, especially when you throw Boston in here. You've got Vanguard in 18 even, Bluecoats a 17.9, Blue Devils a 17.8, Crown at a 17.4, Cavaliers a 17.3, 16.8 for the Blue Stars. That's 0.3 above the Cadets, 16.5, and the Phantom Regiment at a 15.9. Bluecoats a 27.45 overall, and visual Blue Devils 0.2 back of them. Vanguard at a 27.175, Crown gets a 26.7, Cavaliers a 26.1. Blue Stars come out on top of the Cadets by 3.5, and Phantom at a 24.05. Looking at the music recap, and this is really where the show's decided, really just placement and margin stuff. So, looking at brass, you've got Bluecoats on top in the 18s at an 18.1. You've got Crown in second and an 18 even. A good battle we'll be watching. Really, come finals week, any of these top 4, and then maybe even throw in Boston and Color Guard, can win captions. So, any of these top 5 can win captions. You could see, and I know this won't happen, but you could see 5 different corps winning captions. I would not be surprised. That would be amazing. I don't think it'll happen, but I won't be surprised if it did come Indy. Anyway, in brass, you've got Crown in second, third, Blue Devils 17.9, so there's first 3, and really throwing Vanguard in fourth at a 17.8. It's a 10th separating each one, 4/10 separated the top 4 there. Bit of a drop-off then from that 17.8 for Vanguard down to a 17.4 for the Cavaliers. Blue Stars at 17 even, the Cadets is 16.7, and Phantom is 16.3. Phantom's closing in on the Cadets there, really one of Phantom's best captions, and the caption the Cadets have struggled in. Music analysis, you've got the Bluecoats at 18 even, Blue Devils is 17.8, Vanguard is 17.7, Crown is 17.5, Cavaliers is 17.2, so those scores are all in the green if you consider the 17 mark the green in analysis. You've got the Cadets on top of the Blue Stars by half a point, so good for the Cadets there. And then Phantom at a 16 even, another half point back from the Blue Stars. Looking at percussion, this is the big thing that everybody's kind of taken away from this recap. You've got Vanguard in 18 even in first place. No surprise, Vanguard wins. Blue Devils second, 17.95, very close. But you have to go to 6th place to find the Bluecoats, and I'll go in order and then get down to them. So you've got Vanguard 18 even, Blue Devils 17.95, Cavaliers 17.6, good for them there. You've got Cadets in 4th, 17.55. You've got Crown in 5th at 17.35, and you got the Bluecoats in 6th at 17.25. That hurts them a lot and really takes some of those points in that margin away from their gap over the Blue Devils. Just something I don't think the Bluecoats won, and I'm sure this is just a judge thing because we haven't seen this yet this season, or hopefully it is, I should say. Bluecoats then come out in 3rd in music. Blue Devils take the win. Looking at overall, the whole show, 90.725 for the Bluecoats, exactly 3/10 above the Blue Devils. Vanguard in 89.825. Crown 88.325. Cavaliers at an 86.85. Blue Stars an 84.45. Cadets at an 83.925. And Phantom at an 80.3. So that was the big show last night. The other show we saw last night on the DCI circuit was the SoCal Classic in Bellflower, California, Ranieri Stadium. We saw 10 open class scorers in attendance here. The night before, we saw Gold pull very close to the Vanguard Cadets. We saw Vanguard Cadets not necessarily close on Blue Devils B, but keep a reasonable margin behind them. We saw Vessel and the Battalion very tight. Really, those were the big storylines that came out of the Thursday night contest in Riverside. Looking at general effect first, you've got the Blue Devils B and the Vanguard Cadets tied here, 29.7. 3rd place goes to Gold at a 28.9. 4th, Golden Empire, 27.1. Battalion, 26.3. Watchmen actually jumped Vessel in general effect at 25.3 to a 24.8. Impulse 8th. Blue Devils C jumps Incognito 21.1 to a 20.9. Visual proficiency, only mix-up in placement we saw there was Vessel doing very well. We saw them jump all the way up to 4th above Golden Empire and above the Battalion. In visual analysis, really some interesting things all throughout. So you get the Blue Devils B at a 15.3, 4/10 above Vanguard Cadets, then another 5/10 back to Gold. 4th place in visual analysis is the Battalion. 5th, Golden Empire. 6th is Vessel. Watchmen come out 7th, 4/10 behind Vessel. Incognito actually comes out 8th there, largely due to how well their color guard has been performing this season. Blue Devils C 9th and Impulse in 10th. Color guard, you've got Blue Devils B, you've got Vanguard Cadets, you've got Gold, you've got Golden Empire, the Battalion as the top 5. Scores ranging from Blue Devils B's 15.3 to the Battalion's 12.5. Just 2/10 behind the Battalion in color guard was Vessel. Watchmen come in 7th. Incognito jumps Impulse 12 even to an 11.85, and then Blue Devils C at a 10.9. Overall visual scores a 22.9 for Blue Devils B, a 22.2 for Vanguard Cadets, so a pretty big gap for those two in visual. A 21.7 for Gold, 20.1 for Golden Empire, 19.65 for the Battalion. Vessel comes in 6th, Watchmen 7th, Impulse 8th, Incognito 9th, and Blue Devil C comes in 10th in the visual caption. In music, we have Blue Devils B on top in brass by 4/10, a 15.8 to a 15.4 for the Vanguard Cadets. Gold at a 14.8. Really, we just did not see them as close to the Vanguard Cadets as we had seen on Thursday night. Really, Vanguard Cadets pulling back away and Gold falling off a bit. Battalion coming fourth in brass. They jumped Golden Empire by a very big margin, 1.2 points in just a sub-caption. Contributes a lot to that overall music score. Golden Empire, as I said, fifth, 13 even. That's 4/10 above Vessels, 12.6. You got Watchmen, Impulse, Incognito, Blue Devils, C. Music analysis. Everybody goes in order except Blue Devils C goes above Incognito here by a 10th. But at the top, we see Blue Devils B on top by 3/10, and then another 4/10 from Vanguard Cadets back to Gold. Kind of this common occurrence here. Going over to percussion, a 15.4 for Blue Devils B, a 14.8, just a 10th above Gold for Vanguard Cadets. Fourth in percussion actually goes to Vessel. We've seen their drumline or just the percussion subcaption overall do very well this season, 13.7. Golden Empire 13.2, Battalion 13.1. You got Impulse above Watchmen there, a 12.5 to a 12.3. Incognito in 9th, and Blue Devils C in 10th. Overall music, everybody goes in order except the Battalion do jump Golden Empire a 19.8 to a 19.5. Blue Devils B comes out on top in music, a 23.1 to a 22.45 for the Vanguard Cadets. Overall scores from the show, we see Blue Devils B get a 75.7, a very good score for them last night. Vanguard Cadets just 1.35 back, a 74.35. Gold with a 72.5, not as close to the Vanguard Cadets as we had seen them in Riverside. Golden Empire in 4th, Battalion 5th, Vessel comes in 6th with a 62.8, a much bigger gap between the Battalion and Vessel at this show. Watchmen in 7th, Impulse in 8th, Incognito 9th, and Blue Devil C comes in 10th with a 51.95. So today, a very action-packed day when you look at everything. You've got 3 DCI shows, the first regional of the season, of course, that's the big event. And then you've also got 2 DCA shows, so a very big day. I'm going to start off, though, tonight with talking about the DCI Southwestern Championship in San Antonio. This is presented by Fred J. Miller Incorporated. You can, of course, watch live on Flow Marching. All times here are Central. Please keep that in mind. So if you're planning your day, you're not like, oh, I'm going to miss 4 quarters, but you're thinking Eastern time or whatever. So Central time, 1:30 Central time. Welcome National Anthem. We got 2 sound sport groups. We've got Compass. They were very, very good. I said this on yesterday's podcast. They were very good in Belton on Thursday night. A very pleasant surprise for these sound sport groups that do very well. And of course, Arsenal, I'm sure they will do great things today too. We've got one open class course here, the Guardians. They make this appearance every year en route to the next part of their tour. Then we have a lot, or I should say, the first world class block of today's show. We've got the Seattle Cascades, Jersey Surf, Music City, Genesis Troopers, Pacific Crest, and the Madison Scouts, followed by an intermission at 4:23 Central Time. Keep in mind they draw these, so they grouped Madison Scouts, Pacific Crest, and Troopers together, for example, and Madison Scouts won the draw, if you want to call it that, so they go on last in that group. You've got Genesis winning the other draw, and because there's an odd number of corps now, Seattle Cascades were just by themselves. This show has a lot of implications for the rest of the season when we think of things. This show decides performance order, at least the groups that corps are grouped in, to be drawn for a performance order for the rest of the season. Of course, it decides the groups for Atlanta. Atlanta decides it for Allentown, and Allentown decides it for Indy, of course. You also, of course, it's everybody there at the same time. First time seeing that this year. So that's the big thing, but the scheduling thing also has a lot. This show is really one of the biggest when you think of it that way. What are we looking for here? Madison Scouts, Pacific Crest Troopers, I expect them to all be close. Can Pacific Crest jump Madison? I think they can by the time the season's over, but can they do it tonight? That's the question. Genesis, Music City, Jersey Surf. We saw Genesis come out on top of Jersey Surf the other day. Can they do that again? And then Seattle Cascades, they've got to pull up. They haven't had a show since a competitive show since the 10th, so it's been 10 days or more since they did that. The second block of cores today, we've got the first group as Colt Spirit of Atlanta, the Academy. That's that 13 through 15 group. Can the Academy make up more ground? We saw them top the Colts the other night. They defeated Phantom Regiment in visual proficiency. Can they continue to make up ground on that finals bubble? And I know I've counted them out, but I mean, if they make big changes and improve the performance quality a lot and make design changes, they can go a long way. I don't know if they can make finals, but they sure can beat Spirit for 13th, and that will be one of the things we're watching today. Then we have Phantom Regiment, Crossman, Mandarins. That's the 10 through 12 group. How do they shake out, particularly Crossman and Mandarins? We know Phantom will finish 12th, or at least we expect that they will, because of how they've fared so far, going up 0.2 of a point last night, not a whole lot. Crossman and Mandarins, they've had 3 head-to-heads so far this season, I believe. Crossman won the first, Mandarins won the second, Crossman won the third. So what will happen tonight is obviously the big question there. 6:25 Central Time is an intermission. After that intermission, which is very lengthy, it's a 50-minute intermission, that takes us to 7:15 Central Time with the Cadets. Allentown, Pennsylvania, of course. They begin that 7 through 9 group. You've got the Blue Knights, you've got the Blue Stars there. With those 3, we've seen the Blue Stars defeat the Cadets. We've also seen the Cadets defeat the Blue Stars. We've seen the Blue Knights defeat the Cadets. We've seen the Cadets defeat the Blue Knights. So the Cadets can finish 7th, they can finish 8th, they can finish 9th. The Blue Knights can do the same. Blue Stars can do the same. So that is really one of the most highly competitive groups of the night, because I don't know how they're going to shake out. Like, if you had to ask me how are those 3 going to place tonight, I have no idea. I might have to lean with the Blue Knights for 7th because they've had a day or 2 off, but I don't know. I got nothing with those 3. That next 3, this is the 4 through 6 group. You've got the Cavaliers at 8:06, Crown 8:23, Boston 8:40. Can Boston make up ground to Carolina Crown? Could they have added stuff yesterday and today that they can implement tonight? That'll obviously be the big question there, as in Boston, also Crown. Can they put anything new into that show? And the Cavaliers are coming. I don't know if they can do anything. I don't know if they can do any damage, but I think they're definitely coming. You've also got the Bluecoats. You've got Santa Clara Vanguard, and you have the Blue Devils, of course, the 1 through 3 group. Rounding out the show, Blue Devils' performance ends at 9:48. How those 3 will shake out is a bit more predictable. Probably the Bluecoats on top, probably the Blue Devils in second, probably Santa Clara Vanguard in third. I think Vanguard's definitely the one with the most guarantee of finishing in their position. But those top 2, I'm really looking forward to, if I don't see a video by then, of the Bluecoats' new ending, because it can't hurt the show, so how can it help it? That's obviously a big question with them. After the Blue Devils encore, they're doing a drumline battle. I don't know who's in it, but that is happening. And then 10:05 scores will be announced. I believe they do bring drum majors out here still. So always a nice, fun treat with that. The second show tonight is the Gold Showcase in Vista, California. If you remember a few weeks ago, it was June 28th, there was a show in Vista, California. The Coors at the Crest San Diego event. This is the same exact stadium. This is kind of the end point for some of these open class Coors. You've got the Blue Devils, those 2 Coors, Blue Devils C, Blue Devils B. They end their season. You see Vanguard Cadets end their season. A few others do as well. So really, this show is their championship, and they used to call this the SoCal Championship Show or something like that, SoCal Core Championship event or something. But this is really the biggest event of the season for these particular cores, and it really means a lot to them. So this is in reverse order of how they finished last night. You've got Blue Devil C going on first, Incognito second at 6:25, all times here Pacific time, Impulse at 6:40, Watchman 6:55, and Vessel at 7:10. And intermission follows Vessel's performance at 7:25. Then at 7:40, we've got the Battalion, 7:55 Golden Empire, 8:10 Gold, 8:25 Vanguard Cadets, 8:40 Blue Devils B. 9 o'clock scores are announced. They do a full retreat here, actually, too, of all of these 10 corps. It's really just a very meaningful event to many of these corps. We do have some like Gold, Golden Empire. They're the only two here going to championships. But you also have the Battalion. I believe the Watchmen, I want to say the Watchmen go out. I'm just using them as an example too. The Battalion's 2 shows next week in the Rocky Mountain region. So, really just a big event for these open class corps. These corps that don't, some of them don't necessarily have the funding to go to championships or whatever, or member commitment or whatever it is. And then, of course, you've got corps like Vanguard Cadets, Blue Devils B with that more, that they're trying to kind of play to what their idea of what these two corps, and really from Blue Devils see there too, of what these corps should represent, and what the members' experiences should be. So, a big event tonight, Gold Showcase, Vista, California. Big night for these SoCal open class corps. The third and final DCI event tonight is DCI New Hampshire, Manchester, New Hampshire. 6:45 Eastern Time is the Welcome National Anthem for this show. 6:50 an exhibition by the Muchachos from Manchester, New Hampshire. We've got 3 open class scores before the intermission. The Lace Centaurs in their first show of the season. Heatwave and Southwind then at 7:56 an intermission. We've got the Legends, 7th Regiment, and the Spartans after intermission. Spartans Hall of Fame presentation will happen at 8:59, and then scores are announced at 9:15 or after the presentation is over. We're supposed to see most of these corps, with the exception of 7th Regiment, add-in Raiders, and Encore the other day in Augusta, New Jersey, at that baseball stadium, Skyline Stadium. Yeah, that show got rained out. So, and we were also looking forward to Legends versus Spartans and other battles at that event. Fortunately, it did not happen, but most of these scores do go to, or most of those scores, I should say, go to New Hampshire tonight. We've got the Spartans, 7th Regiment Legends. Really interesting there. Legends, Spartans in particular. What have they added? What have they done? Really just the big questions with those two. Who comes out on top? Because those are 2 of the corps that are in contention, adding gold for the gold this year, if you see what I did there. We also have 7th Regiment and Southwind tonight. Those corps in that middle tier of open class corps, a large middle tier in open class, but those are 2 of the corps there. We've also got Heatwave and the Lace Centaurs, 2 of the corps that will be fighting for an open class finalist berth come August. We also have 2 DCA shows tonight. First is Long Island Evening with the Corps in Uniondale, New York. Sunrisers host. They join the Caballeros and Hurricanes as well. We have exhibitions by the Tri-Valley Brass Ensemble and also the Free Players. And then also the Saints Showcase in Pataskala, Ohio. Cincinnati Tradition and the Columbus Saints, also Rogues Hollow Regiment, a DCI Sound Sport group, is there as well. So 2 DCA shows as well this weekend. Thank you for watching the podcast today. Just a few things. Make sure to visit my website, drumcorpscentral.weebly.com, for all the latest updates from the DCI and DCA summer tours. Scores, schedules, leaderboards, and more can all be found at my own personal website about all things drum corps. Also, make sure to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Drum Corps Geek, and subscribe to the Show Day podcast on YouTube, where this podcast and more will be posted. Finally, leave your thoughts in the comment sections, questions, input, comments, etc. All greatly appreciated. And finally, if you are in the San Antonio area today, I do have a rehearsal site list for all the corps I published on my Twitter account. So if you want to go check that out, of course, at Drum Corps Geek. And I'll be doing one of those for every regional event, Allentown and Atlanta. Allentown and Atlanta as well. So thank you for watching. Big night ahead. Have a great rest of your day.